I think one myth that a lot of people think is once you ceramic your car's gonna be perfectly clean and just wet look every single time. And that's just not true. A lot of times ceramic coating does need some sort of maintenance. Does it make maintenance a lot easier? Absolutely. But a lot of coatings can last. So ceramic coating, it's hard to say how long it's going to last because it depends on the manufacturer. So some of them will last 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. And if you think about it, ceramic coating is like wax, but more like a permanent solution, right? So back in the day, carnauba wax was really the big thing. And then we had sealants, and then now we have ceramic coating. And it's a much more permanent solution where you do a lot of prep, you do all the polishing, you get it all ready. And then after that, you coat it, and it lasts for a long time, creates that barrier between the clear coat and that protection layer. It also makes your car wash a lot easier because it has a lot of hydrophobic properties. If it's ceramic coated or wax or something like that, typically it's really, really slick to the touch. On this side, roughly, it is not coated at all. I think I went a little bit past this damage right here. And you can see right here, I'm gonna get some water, and you can see the impact. So look at this right here on this side. You saw like kind of like a big blotch, and it kind of goes in like this. And you look at a ceramic coated area, which is right here, and look what happens here. It just kind of beads off, and this is what happens, it beads. I think a lot of people will wash probably about once a month, right? So when they wash once a month, a lot of times if you don't do that, and let's say you didn't wash for 6 months, what happens is those hydrophobic property that you just saw is not really going to be present anymore because there's just too much of a layer of just dirt on top of it. So that layer of ceramic coating can't do its job anymore. So we call that it clogs, right? So to unclog it, you want to make sure that you're doing that maintenance wash. The most common method that a lot of people are going to tell you is going to be something called the 2-bucket method, as you see it in the front of the bumper. What you're doing is you're getting one for wash, which you're going to be using a pH neutral. We use our car wash shampoo. It's very light on the coating itself. So you dunk it, you use a clean microfiber mitt. That's a high GSM so it doesn't damage the coating or the vehicle. And then you also have a rinse bucket like this with a grit guard and a washboard, right? And what this does is it keeps the dirt down. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna, dunk it into that wash bucket, and you're going to go in straight lines like this. And you're just going to make sure, and one thing I forgot to mention is you wanna hose it down, right? You don't wanna just like go gung-ho right into it right here, but I already did that earlier. And once you hose it down, as you do panels, you can flip this microfiber like this and go ahead, and then you're gonna rinse it, and then really inspect it. And then after that, you go into the wash mitt again, and then you do the next section and so on. And once you're done, you're gonna go ahead and grab your hose, if you don't have a pressure washer, and you're just gonna rinse it down. If you're not using a pressure washer, I think you could get a lot closer. This, I usually recommend not going past like 18 or 1900 PSI. The last thing that you want to do when you're washing your car is you want to make sure you dry it. And then you just go from the top. And you can see immediately that it just dries off. And if you don't have a blower of any sort, you can still use a drying towel like this. Typically, these are going to be very, very high and fluffy, high GSM and fluffy, so it has a low risk of damaging your vehicle. But just like when I was doing the wash mitt, I wasn't putting a whole lot of pressure. Same thing, very, very little pressure. So one thing you could do is, especially like a hood, is you could just drag this across and let the microfiber do its job, okay? And if you do this method, this 2-bucket method, you're gonna increase the longevity of the coating. It will last longer. And of course, when you do this, you can watch our video about the 2-bucket method and the order of how we wash the car. But essentially, we say top to bottom because the top is going to be usually the cleanest for the most part, and the bottom is going to be the dirtiest since it's closest to the ground. When you do that process and when you clean it with that wash mitt, and that should really unclog that. If it's absolutely still unclogging, and let's say it's been like 2-3 years, that may be a sign that it's starting to wear out, and maybe you either need a booster. So a lot of manufacturers have like the main coating that they sell, right? And then they also have like a spray booster. And when you add that, it adds another layer of protectant that will increase the longevity. So you could do something like that. We love making maintenance videos like this. So click on that subscribe, really helps us continue to make these videos. So right into this, before you wash it, let's say you're washing once every month for your ceramic coating. You got ceramic coating because you don't want to wash your car as often and you want to wash it. You want to wash it, but you want the wash to be faster, okay? That's great. But let's say this is a hood and, you know, the little bird, the robin right there, happened to take a dookie right over here, okay? And the thing about bird poop is that it's acidic. The acid can eat through that coating, eat through sometimes a clear coat and cause something called etching. And etching is like that permanent layer of like blotch that just stays on the paint of your vehicle or the PPF or ceramic coating. The only way is you have to buff it out, right? You have to cut through the layer of clear coat or ceramic coating, and that's really the only way. Or sometimes you have to use harsher chemicals to get it off. So the easiest way is to use something like a quick detailer or what we call waterless car wash. And you can have it on a spray method like this and let it sit for a little bit, and then you want to grab a microfiber high GSM that won't scratch your vehicle, and you just want to wipe it down. And whenever, if you watch me kind of do all this, I'm never going, you know, like that, or like super aggressive, right? Literally barely any kind of energy. I'm not even putting my weight or anything like that. I'm literally just gliding through, and that's kind of what you want to do regardless of the mitt, drying, or even a waterless wash. But if you do this, if you get it within that week, the chance of it etching is going to be a lot lower. The ceramic coating at the least is going to eat through that first, so that's better than eating through the actual clear coat or the paint, right? So that's the good news. But you want to make sure you keep this in your car, in your trunk, or wherever you want, and you want to have something like this so that when even bug guts is another thing, right? If that's there, like in your bumper, you know, the front bumper is typical, right? When you do a lot of highway driving, you could spray that and then you just wipe it out, and then you're going to ensure that you don't have any etching. Just keep in mind, ceramic coating should be the last thing that you put on your vehicle. So if you are thinking about vinyl wrapping or paint protection filming your car, that needs to go first, and then you coat on top of it. If you had already coated your vehicle, that means that you can't really put paint protection film. And the only really way to get rid of the coating itself is for either to let it, you know, kind of eventually dissipate, or you have to buff it out, which can also be incredibly hard because it has a insane hardness into that ceramic. So it can be incredibly difficult, which is why I use this bumper instead of on my Tesla back there, because we use that car and I need to install stuff, rip it out and install stuff. So we haven't had it ceramic coating since we're always working on that car. Hopefully this helps kind of talk a little bit about how to maintain your ceramic coating. But if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for sticking around in the video. We'll see you next time. Happy protecting your coating.